Imagine waking up one bitter February morning to find the world transformed, not by snow or ice, but by something far more sinister, a trail of hoof-like prints stretching for over 100 miles across the frozen English countryside, prints that appeared in places no creature could possibly reach. What kind of monster leaves a single cloven hoof print hopping on one foot, straight through walls and across rooftops? To understand this chilling mystery, we need to transport ourselves back to the year 1855 to the snow-dusted county of Devon, England. The date was February 8th. The night before, a significant snowfall had blanketed the region. It wasn't an extraordinary amount, perhaps an inch or two, just enough to perfectly preserve any impressions left upon its pristine surface. But what was preserved that morning sent shivers down the spines of everyone who witnessed it. From the coastal towns of Exmouth and Topsham, inland to Teignmouth, and even further, a deeply unsettling phenomenon began to emerge. Farmers, clergymen, laborers, and children all stumbled upon the same unnerving sight, a continuous, unbroken line of distinct hoof-shaped marks, each about 4 inches long, precisely aligned, and spaced roughly 8 inches apart. These weren't the messy tracks of a panicked deer or the broad paw prints of a dog. No, these were deeply impressed, perfectly formed cloven hooves, as if a single supernatural creature had hopped its way across the landscape. The sheer scale was baffling. Estimates varied wildly, but local reports suggested the bizarre trail measured anywhere from 40 to over 100 miles in length. It was a silent, chilling invasion, leaving a clear message written in the snow, but a message no one could decipher. The initial reaction was a mixture of fear and bewilderment. Livestock was checked, but no abnormal behavior was reported. Hunters were dispatched, but found nothing. The prints seemed to defy all known zoology. What animal could possibly produce such a track? The lack of any paired footprints, the consistent depth, the remarkable stride. It was all fundamentally alien to existing animal behavior. But the truly eerie aspect, the detail that elevated this from a curious anomaly to an enduring legend, was where these prints were found. They traversed open fields, yes, but they also scaled walls, leaped over hedges, crossed entire rivers, and most incredibly appeared on the rooftops of houses. How could a creature with a single hoof print hop over a wall 14 feet high? How could it leave its mark on a narrow ledge high above the ground? Witnesses reported seeing the tracks enter enclosed courtyards through narrow gateways, only to find the prints continuing on the other side of seemingly solid brick walls, with no break in the pattern. They were found inside locked gardens, emerging from drain pipes only to disappear into another. One particularly unsettling account described tracks leading straight to a haystack, disappearing into it, and then reappearing on the other side. This wasn't just a bizarre animal, this was something that seemed to disregard the very laws of physics. The uniformity of the prints, almost as if stamped out by a cookie cutter, fueled the growing suspicion that this was no ordinary creature, but something far more malevolent, something from folklore. The residents of Devon, a deeply religious and often superstitious community, immediately jumped to the most terrifying conclusion their minds could conjure. The devil himself had paid them a visit. Panic began to spread like wildfire, church services filled with anxious parishioners seeking solace. Children, terrified by tales of Old Nick stalking the countryside, refused to go outside. The scientific community, though limited in its reach at the time, attempted to offer rational explanations. Local newspapers, like the Exeter and Plymouth Gazette, documented the unfolding events, further amplifying the mystery and the public's fascination. Naturalists and scientists speculated everything from badgers to kangaroos, an exotic and unlikely proposition for rural Devon, to rats, but none of these theories could account for the incredible distance, the consistent pattern, or the baffling locations where the prints were found. Each attempted explanation quickly crumbled under scrutiny, leaving the unsettling alternative as the most plausible in the minds of the frightened populace. What they discovered next only deepened the fear. As the days passed and the news spread beyond Devon, more details emerged. Some prints were described as having a slight burn mark at the center, as if seared into the snow. Others noted a powerful sulfuric odor clinging to the air along the trail. These anecdotal accounts, while impossible to verify scientifically, only served to strengthen the supernatural narrative gripping the townsfolk. The Reverend H.T. Ellicombe, vicar of Clyst St. George, compiled some of the most comprehensive accounts, describing the prints in detail and noting their continuous progression, without any intermission or sign of a jump, through gardens, over walls and fences, and often on the tops of houses. He even relayed how a Mr. F. Ritalik, a local surveyor, traced the prints for 2 hours, noting that they frequently crossed his path and never deviated from a straight line. This unwavering trajectory, combined with the impossible obstacles overcome, made the traditional hunt for an animal futile. How do you hunt something that doesn't obey gravity? How do you track something that seemingly teleports from one side of a locked shed to another? Theories, some more outlandish than others, began to circulate. One popular idea, even entertained briefly by some scientific-minded individuals, was that a runaway hot air balloon, dragging an anchor or a grappling hook, could have created the marks. But how would a balloon create consistently placed single hoof impressions over such an immense distance, through specific landscapes, and even through small openings? The logistics simply didn't add up. Then there was the kangaroo theory. A private menagerie in Sidmouth was rumored to house a kangaroo. Perhaps it had escaped. But again, the single footprint, the incredible journey, the lack of other evidence. Kangaroos certainly don't hop in precise single-file lines through walls. Another theory suggested a type of mouse or rodent hopping on its hind legs, leaving prints that then melted and reformed in the snow, creating the illusion of larger hooves. While snowmelt can certainly distort tracks, it's highly improbable it could create such uniform, deeply impressed, and consistently shaped marks over such a vast area. Local pranks, mass hysteria, meteor showers creating unique impact patterns, even military experiments, all were put forward and subsequently dismissed. The rational framework struggled to contain the anomaly. The fear of something demonic, something unknowable, something beyond human comprehension settled over Devon like a new layer of snow, chilling everyone to the bone. The sheer volume of eyewitness accounts from different locations, all describing the same inexplicable phenomenon, made it impossible to dismiss outright. It wasn't just one person seeing something strange, it was hundreds, independently reporting the same chilling evidence. To this day, over a century and a half later, no definitive, universally accepted explanation for the devil's footprints has ever been found. The mystery of February 1855 remains just as perplexing now as it was then. Was it a peculiar weather phenomenon, creating an optical illusion or an odd melt pattern in the snow that mimicked hooves? Could it have been an elaborate, widespread hoax perpetrated by individuals or groups across dozens of miles without detection? Or was it something truly anomalous, a fleeting glimpse into a hidden world we cannot comprehend? The frolicking badger theory, postulating that a badger, hopping on one foot and dragging its other, might create such an appearance, is one of the more recent and often cited attempts at a mundane explanation. While badgers exist in Devon and can make unusual tracks, the sheer scale and the impossible locations still make this a difficult sell. Perhaps the most unsettling truth is that some mysteries simply refuse to be solved. The Devil's Footprints of Devon stand as a stark reminder that sometimes the world can present us with phenomena that defy our understanding, leaving us with only questions and the chilling possibility that not everything can be explained away by science or logic. If you want more mysteries that linger in the shadows, the next video explores the baffling case of the Dyatlov Pass incident, where 9 experienced hikers met an unthinkable end on a remote mountain slope.